Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR Today. This is Matthew Thomas. I am joined here, as I'm joined every Wednesday morning, by Linda Kay. Linda, how are you doing this fine day?
I am doing tremendous as I always do in the mornings because I'm always elated to be speaking to you or
Wait,
to Meathead.
wait a minute. I just realized today is May the 4th. So do I have to do like a obligatory May the 4th be with you or something like that, or make a Star Wars reference or
Yeah.
something about Obi-Wan Kenobi or Death Star or R2D2 or I think that took care of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
all right. So now that we got that out of the way, Linda, if you were fighting the evil empire and you needed to wear appropriate apparel to fight the evil empire, what kind of clothes would you wear?
oh, and I would be able to fend off any evil creatures that be, and that would be when I am wearing my collar and elbow gear. Now, if you want to be protected. And I will say I was protected by the rain yesterday in my collar and elbow windbreaker, by the way. It's very handy whenever it's raining and sprinkling out because it's still very cold in Milwaukee. But if you want to be protected, go to collarandelbowbrand.com. And if you want to save a little cash, use promo code Linda K. That's LINDAKAY to save yourself 10% off that order.
Fantastic. I thought for a second you were going to say there's the new collar and elbow brand umbrella, and I'm not traditionally
Oh,
a fan of umbrellas. I find them, like the amount of rain that's got to be coming down in order for me to carry around an apparatus that I have to assemble and disassemble. Like it's got to be pretty torrential for me to want to like carry around something, to go through all that hassle. But you know what? If Collar and Elbow brand did make an umbrella, I might kind of come around to the idea a little bit more than I traditionally do.
it would match the windbreaker.
Yes, it would. That, and you could sell it as a combo.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. We might have to put a little bird in somebody's ear about that idea. But speaking of something that has nothing to do with birds, there was an article that's like it's a segue, but not really. It's just it's a transition, but like more of an abrupt stop. But where I go to get all of my wrestling news now is actually the New York Post, and there was an interesting article in the New York Post yesterday with a very unique thesis statement, if you will. Basically, the idea, the genesis behind this article was, kind of putting Roman Reigns' title reign in perspective right now, since he's got one of, if not the longest reigns currently of the modern era. And basically, what the article was saying was when you stop and think about historically, not even long reigns, but when you stop and think about your champions that were at the pinnacle of their success in the WWE, your Stone Colds, your Rock, your Hogans, there was always that rivalry that they had. And the case was made in this article that seems to be the one thing that Reigns is missing. Now, you can make a little bit of a case or debate this article. I mean, we're just coming off of Mania where we got him and Brock for what, the third time at Mania. Um, but basically the the um, the author put forward that the initial Brock Roman match is most remembered for Seth cashing in, and
Mhm.
you've had various incarnations of, like, this year we kind of had Farmer Brock. So it necessarily hasn't had that storyline arc of one of those great rivalries. I don't know that I agree with this, but looking forward, I mean, you got to think that Roman Brock trilogy, that WrestleMania arc's probably behind us. Linda, your thoughts, on the statement that Roman hasn't had that rival to take him to that next level, and B, if that is the case and you agree with that, who do you see that person being for Roman?
Well, I think bringing up him and Brock definitely worth a mention, as you said. several matches at WrestleMania, but as you mentioned, also Brock having a different reincarnation of him, Farmer Brock, MMA Brock, Jimmy John's Brock, uh, but you also have a different Roman Reigns, just like with that cash in when Seth Rollins at 31, that was a different Roman Reigns as well. So it's kind of hard to kind of build that solid rivalry when it almost feels like they've been facing different talents. But I will say that Roman also was a champion during part of the COVID era. Mm-hmm. So I don't, there just seems like different factions where we're just not getting that full on effect, full on feel with any type of rivalries. But I would say Brock Roman for sure is one right now. And I would say Seth Roman as well, just because of the history with the Shield.
You brought up a really good point, because I feel like the clock more or less reset with Roman when he turned heel, when he had Paul Heyman in his corner. Mm-hmm. All of these Roman title reigns previously, you were really facing very, very stark opposition from the WWE universe. It was kind of what I feel was like the Roman force-fed era. And I look at Roman's career arc, and I feel like this Roman that they're talking about, as far as, I mean, this Roman that they're talking about with that reign pretty much started when this, and I got to stop using the word reign when I'm talking about Roman Reigns. Like, that's just a horrible, it's like Page, Page in a cage. I got to get away from that.
Turn the page.
Yes, exactly. I will say that one mention the article did make was, potentially where we go in the next few years with Cody. And if Cody is perceived as a viable contender to Roman, one thing that kind of pulls me away a little bit from him and Seth in long-term storytelling to me, and I know you've got the basis of the story with them in the Shield, but it feels a little bit almost gimmicky because they are coming from the same faction. I kind of want somebody running polar opposite to Roman. And I'm not sure if Cody is that guy or who that guy is, but, just a different lens to kind of put on the current Roman title reign. Well, speaking of a different lens, NXT put a different lens on their product last night with their Spring Breakin offering. We're seeing this more and more from NXT since they've gone to 2.0. I guess our last proper NXT special event was at WrestleMania with Stand and Deliver. So NXT over the last year have given us more of these free televised special events. Now, if you were keeping score at home and we were in season with the PWR draft, which we will be very soon, this would not have been point scoring. So this would have just been a special event on the USA Network. However, it did kick off with the NXT North American triple threat match for the North American title. Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes going up against Solo Sikoa. And Linda, what's Cameron Grimes done to the NXT universe there in studio? Like, did he sell them like a Ponzi scheme or something? That crowd for the last handful of weeks, they have turned on Grimes, and last night was no exception. I'm not going to say he got booed out of the building, but he did not get a warm ovation there at NXT.
No, he was booed during the intros. Who knows if there's some behind the scenes shenanigans that may have taken place with him and the NXT faithful there. I mean, he's definitely a strong champion. The whole story, mentioning his father, his family, him getting the North American Championship at Stand and Deliver, huge moment there for him. And just all of a sudden, I mean, I think part of it just is no matter whoever is the champion right now, just may get that treatment just because their crowd is just loving Solo Sikoa so much right now that it could be, if Carmelo Hayes was still champion, he get, well, I mean, I know he's a heel and still get boos, even though I love Carmelo Hayes. I think he still has a split crowd as far as cheers goes down there, but I think it's just anybody facing right now with Solo Sikoa in the mix, I think is going to get the more of the boos, but still, I don't think Cameron Grimes, at least on TV there, has done anything to really deserve or
Yeah,
really.
and I mean they are definitely that the NXT faithful. They are a huge fan of Solo, that's for sure. And I thought, like we talked about last week, I thought he was potentially going to be your new NXT North American champion. Did not happen. I thought this was a really good match. They had me convinced that the finish had taken place multiple times before we got the actual finish. We would see Cameron Grimes going over and retaining, much to the chagrin of the NXT universe, but they started off with what I think was a match of the night to get the show off to a hot start with Cameron Grimes picking up the win. Linda, did you overall enjoy the match?
Absolutely. I mean, you said match of the night. Wade Barrett went as far as saying, could this be match of the year? Uh,
See, I have,
definitely enjoyed it.
People who make match of the year claims, like, I feel like their short-term memory is a lot better than mine. Anytime I hear match of the year, I'm having to think and do an inventory of my head. All right, what month are we in? What have I seen so far? Can I make that claim? Maybe I just need to start taking better notes, or maybe I need to figure out my own personal rating system.
Perhaps.
I think we might be onto something. But here's the thing: if I did that, like, it wouldn't just be like, 5. Like, I'd have to get really, really detailed, like going to like specific decimal points, because that's what I think the industry's missing. Like, you got 5-star matches and like all these rudimentary rating scales. I think you really need to get deep into the minutia with decimals and fractions and whatnot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's the way. I'll get to work on that,
Okay.
and who knows? Maybe I'll have a great announcement in addition to our PWR draft this weekend. Maybe I'll have a great announcement on my new mathematical equations for my rating system.
Matthew Thomas, the mathematician.
Ooh, yeah. See, I was never a huge math fan, but if it's something that I enjoy, i.e., professional wrestling, maybe I can. I mean, I am armed with I've got a pretty powerful calculator on my iPhone now. And I did once own a TI-83 graphing calculator. I'd have to dig through some boxes to find that, but maybe I break that out again and do some graphs and stuff.
That just gave me anxiety thinking about a Texas Instrument calculator, because it made me think of school way long ago.
Do you remember how cool, like, and how innovative that everybody always thought they were when you could like play games on it and like draw pictures or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yep, we've definitely come a long way, and we might be reverting back when I break out the old TI-83. Stay tuned, everyone. Well, somebody who did break out last night was Nathan Frazer going up against Grayson Waller. Now, we talked about it. Frazer's debut got interrupted by Waller, I believe it was last week. He was originally slated to basically wrestle an enhancement talent, and I thought I like the fact that you're actually having him go up against an established star on the NXT brand. Frazer picking up the big victory against Grayson Waller in his first proper NXT match. Now, this would come after a member of Chase U, I believe, sounded an air horn in the audience that distract Grayson Waller. So we are potentially getting something between Waller and Andre Chase, which I kind of like, because we've seen Andre Chase and Chase U there on a weekly basis, but I feel like as entertaining as he's been in those segments and different vignettes, we haven't gotten a lot of him established as an NXT character. So I think a lot of good things are going on here. We got a win for Frazer and a storyline for Waller and Chase U.
Yeah, looks like Frazer in his debut has an ally. Chase U, and I think with Andre Chase and Grayson Waller, we've got something there. Both love to talk. I think both are great on the mic or in the classroom, I guess, for Andre Chase. But I think that's something good to look forward to. I think they're evenly matched as far as size goes, and it would be great to see a little more Andre Chase in the ring, just because we really see more of him in the backstage vignettes, which is totally fine because those are entertaining. But let's see what else he can do in the ring. And as a solo competitor, as I think as of late we've seen him and Bodie tag team, like in the tournament. But I think having something new with Andre Chase and with Grayson Waller on his own now as well would be good moving forward.
Absolutely, and that would then bring us to some women's action. Cora Jade and Nikita Lyons going up against Lash Legend and Natalya. This would see Cora Jade pinning Lash Legend after Natalya accidentally kicked Lash Legend. So a little bit of miscommunication there. Linda, your thoughts on the match, and how long do you think we see Natalya sticking around in NXT?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it getting started last week. I liked the build up to it. It was nice to have everybody showcase a lot of what we could do, and I thought there would have been something more at the end with Cora and with Natalya, because that's pretty much. I mean, I know Lash and Nikita has their own thing too, but the pin was on with Cora on Lash, so I just feel like there could have been something more. I don't feel like this should be the end of what's going on, because Natty coming into NXT directly to speak and slap Cora. I feel like they got to get their singles match, and Nikita and Lash. I mean, I enjoyed their solo match last week and seeing something more of that. I mean, this was something good, but obviously with Natty having that miscue in the match, there could be something more with this. But I still feel that Natty will be on NXT for a couple more weeks. So we got to get something more from her coming in and making that huge statement.
Yeah, you're spot on. And I think the story there, ultimately is Natty and Cora Jade. I mean, you had the promo from some weeks back. You had the picture of them together when Cora Jade was a bit younger. I think there's really a story to be told there. So I hope we get the culmination of that in, a singles match in the near future. We did have the Creed brothers minus Malcolm Bivens going up against the Viking Raiders. This was our first NXT after that major roster cut earlier or late last week, I guess. We didn't have any. We skipped over it, but there was a little bit of a reference that wasn't a reference to Dexter's absence with Duke and my goodness,
and Persia too.
Yeah. So a reference that wasn't a reference there. But Creed brothers going up against the Viking Raiders. Enjoyed this match. What I liked about this too is I forgot how much I enjoyed watching the Viking Raiders in ring and in a match that actually gets some time. I feel like, what we see of them in the main roster now, it's very, very gimmicky and very gimmick based. We don't necessarily get to see the Viking Raiders wrestle in a lengthy match. Got a little bit of that last night. We got the Creed brothers picking up the win after somebody else who's been talking about potentially being dissatisfied with the company interfered. Roderick Strong interfering, leading the Creed brothers to get the victory.
Yeah. I said in a separate group text with you and with Meathead about Malcolm Bivens being a surprise, just because he was a great mouthpiece, talking piece for Diamond Mine, and he wasn't there. We had Roddy mention he's the leader of Diamond Mine, and him interfering in that match. With the Creed brothers not being happy about that. Okay, we see some dissension there, and potentially Diamond Mine disassembling, and this being just a continuation of it. As far as Roddy still being with NXT much longer, we shall see. But I thought the Creed brothers, were on that rise, that cruise to, getting to be that close of being NXT champions, and now it kind of being pushed back a bit. I'm wondering what will come about with Diamond Mine in weeks to come.
Yeah, so we talked about last week, and we did not foreshadow it intentionally because we did not know, but we wondered why Joe Gacy was running around by himself, and we hadn't seen. I think we'd seen Harlan once or twice since we saw him on the grassy knoll, but we hadn't seen much of him. He, of course, was with the releases. We would have Joe Gacy versus Braun Breaker in our main event. This was an interesting build-up. Gacy, since the launch of NXT 2.0, has been one of my favorite characters, but this has not been a favorite storyline of mine. I felt like this was a little bit too much too soon in a different Joe Gacy character than we had initially been brought in with. And I didn't feel like there was really any Gacy was a real threat here to dethroning Braun Breaker for the title. And that was, in fact, what we got. We got probably about an 8 or 9 minute match. Braun Breaker retaining the NXT title, which I don't think was a shock to many.
Yeah, I too was thinking as I was watching the match that seemed kind of a rush with this push with Gacy getting this big championship opportunity at the Spring Breakin special. So just, a special NXT. And, I think you hit it right on just now, saying that it's a different Gacy than what we got at the beginning of the new NXT 2.0. And I just, I even just the lead up, it was just something odd about. I mean, he is odd, and might I mention, now that I think about it, when he was hanging upside down, just shades of Bray Wyatt kind of came to mind there, and maybe it could lean to something like that, not full on Fiend, but I mean, he's already got his what did you call them? The guys in the
the Druids.
Thank you. Which brings up. Well, before I get to the very, very end of NXT, I was thinking that there could have been something more with this match if we still had Rick Steiner shown like locked up like, in a cage or just in some type of dire strait. It's just something where there's more urgency, more stress of that Braun Breaker has to decimate Gacy, but
you went really gimmicky with this storyline anyway. Did they miss an opportunity to just not have him suspended above the ring?
Yes, there you go.
I mean, it would have been a little bit cartoonish, but the whole feud was kind of cartoonish, and we closed with apparently his Druids behind Breaker, but. Had they traditionally kind of had the red face, or was that a new thing from last night?
No, that was something new.
So let me ask you this. Was that, I think I figured it out. I didn't figure it out until just now. That actually is a callback to what we saw of Mandy Rose in the tanning bed. The Druids were trying to get a tan, and Wendy Chu accidentally screwed up their tanning bed as well, too. So now Gacy and the Druids are going to feud with Chu, and it's all going to come full circle.
Oh my! I'm glad you brought that up, because we had that moment where she snuck into the tanning salon. Which, by the way, when you go into someone's room that's tanning, most likely naked, that's a violation of privacy right there. She could have burned her skin if she would have set that timer just a little bit more, or the temperature, whatever it was, and then. We also had a kidnapping take place as well.
Oh, yeah.
With Legado de Fantasma.
Yeah, WWE, they don't care really about the law anymore. I mean, babyface Drew McIntyre has been trying to murder people for 6 months now with his sword.
Yeah, that is true. I was gonna say I've seen a few kidnappings on NXT 2.0. Just in
the last month, because Rick Steiner has been within the last month. So there's apparently, I mean, that's how you feud with somebody. Like, it's not a feud until you kidnap them.
That's true. I was thinking back with Hit Row. I remember I think it was Legado de Fantasma too. They took them in the car, and then they were found again later. There was nothing like where they were like missing and all that. But we also had remember when I think it was Cameron Grimes when he was kidnapped in the van with Dexter Lumis, I believe, as well, or something. That's right. Well, anywho, it looks like they end up getting found. Everyone is safe in the end.
Oh, you know who it was? It was Austin Theory. It was Austin Theory that Dexter Lumis kidnapped.
Oh, that's right. Because then he came out and yeah.
Oh my goodness! I'm longing for NXT 1.0 now with the way and with Austin Theory being kidnapped, but he was okay with it because apparently Lumis had quite the cereal selection. Well, there you go. Well, thank you guys for joining us this morning. And, barring that he gets kidnapped, the man they call Meathead will be joining us tomorrow morning, and we will break down the night that was with Dynamite. Until then, we'll talk to you soon.
May the 4th be with you.